on this morning. We're very excited to have Kevin back on as we're getting everything up and running.
Absolutely. Yeah,
here.
glad to. It's awesome to be able to catch up with him again as well.
I see our technical gurus running about the way we are this morning, kind of a little slow, but it's all good.
Right. All right, meeting being live streamed. That sounds good. That's positive. All right, what do you got on your end showing now, man?
I'm pulling it up right now, and
Yeah, double check us to make sure it's working.
We are live on YouTube. I have everything up. So, folks, the chat is open. Join in, ask your questions. Of course, we always share those on air as you ask them, either on TikTok or on YouTube. So,
sure.
DC, we're ready to get this one rolling.
All right, buddy. Let's get the intro going. I think this guy will know the intro a little bit. That we do.
Hello world, this is Kevin from Fiction Factory, and you're listening to DC and DH on the DND Dynamite 80s podcast.
They have been best friends since childhood, played the same sports, attended the same schools, and now they even teach together. You're listening to DC and DH on the D&D Dynamite 80s podcast. So guys, take it away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a special Saturday edition of D&D Dynamite.
You got that
80s.
right.
Yeah, I'm DH.
Well, not the morning for him, but
this is true, but for us, yeah. So
right.
It's
still
early coffee.
Yeah,
I'm DH.
Second cup.
Yes, and that's DC over there talking about the second cup of coffee. He needs about 4 to get rolling in the morning. And DC, we have an amazing guest back on this morning.
Oh man, yeah, thrilled to have him.
I was excited when we got all this set up. Really, I think Kevin was the guest that kind of launched us into this platform.
Yes,
and really started our success on this portion of our journey that we've been on. So I'm going to let you go ahead and do the introductions, and we'll get this rolling.
Yeah, we're honored to have Mr. Kevin Patterson. You know him with Fiction Factory back in the 80s, that decade, and man, what a terrific, just amazing band. And DH and I both are huge fans of theirs, and man, what an honor. But I think Kevin is joining us from Scotland, that's where he lives, and man. Thank you so much, Kevin. How are you this afternoon for you?
Yes.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for having me on again. I must have done something right the first time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's great to do it. I don't think I've ever done a live YouTube before, so it's the first for me, even now.
All right. Awesome.
Now, Kevin, I want to start off with a question that I know is just burning everybody's mind on this interview. With all of the accolades and success you've had as an artist, how fulfilling was it to be one of the first guests on D&D Dynamite 80s?
Right.
That's a killer question. No, I'm always pleased when somebody acknowledges the song, the band, my singing, one of the guys playing, and it's always great to come on and talk about it. Hopefully, interesting to people that are watching it, and it's just great. I like it.
Well, I can definitely say, and DC, you can back this up, but Kevin, I think last time I checked, the views were still climbing on our first interview.
He's got one of the most views of all our YouTube.
Yes, and still going, still climbing.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. From the 3 years past, it's still one of the highest rated ones on ours. So there you go. That tells you how many fans are out there. Yeah, they're out there.
That's amazing.
They're out there, man. Let me go ahead and we talked a lot about, the start of the band, all those general questions last time. And we'll touch on that a little bit for the new folks that are on TikTok. We appreciate you and all that. And if you're not familiar with these guys, I don't know how you're not. Well, maybe if you're a very, very young person, you might not be. But anyway, you need to introduce yourself to it. Just fantastic. I don't know. There's not very many weeks go by, DH, that I don't have to go back and review like YouTube of these guys being on Top of the Pops and all that. Man, it's just a phenomenal song. I've got it all over my playlist. I just got to hear it.
Well,
in
and
the
it's
car or whatever weekly.
it's kind of all of their music,
Yeah.
the sound
That's
of the
true.
band and the songs.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of takes you back to that nostalgic '80s sound, and
It was
it's
just a great time.
It really was
growing up.
And you having a stressful day, and then you hear the song come on, and it's like, for that time period, I'm not stressing, I'm relaxing, enjoying the song. So and I
takes
mean
you away from the stuff.
and to me, that is true artistry, because you have taken and created something that has kind of transcended time and given people that escape. So that is an amazing thing.
What a gift!
Oh,
absolutely!
Definitely.
What a gift!
Thank you. Far too kind. Far too kind.
Well, I mean, and I know that we're not maybe in the same realm, but as teachers, we try to influence people, and so that's what musicians and actors and actresses do too. I mean, they try to make people feel memories and feel better and support. It's the same kind of little kind of concept a little bit in some ways, and a lot of artists have said that.
Yeah,
I think that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think whatever your beliefs are, and what your kind of ethos is as a person, I think the one thing that you can do, no matter how small, is that when you leave the earth, you've somehow made it better than when you came. Yeah. That's my thing. So I think it is the case that it doesn't matter if it's a novelty song or a classic, I suppose, like Feels Like Heaven or others of that era. I think it does affect people in a small way, and it gives those people memories.
Absolutely.
I've lost count of the number of times that people have said to me, you're the Fiction Factory people. Well, let me tell you the story about Feels Like Heaven, and it threads through people's lives, and that is that is something that you can't buy. It's an amazing thing, and it's difficult to kind of quantify that. And you're right. You go on YouTube and you see endless things to do with Feels Like Heaven. Usually Feels Like Heaven, but you've got people covering it. You've got people doing it in different ways, and it's still now it is a mind blowing thing.
Sure, it's a world impact.
We're coming up to the 40th anniversary of the single being released. It was just after Christmas in 1983, and it's still now. I just cannot compute the spread of the song. I think it was an interview that I read by Pierce Brosnan, James Bond actor. And he likened his the opportunities that he got. He likened it to having a little speck of gold in your back pocket, and that was Feels Like Heaven. That is Feels Like Heaven, because it's for some unknown reason. You can't write it down. You can't say, well, if you sort of do all of these things, you'll have a song that just kind of keeps going. It's just not possible. And I co-wrote the song, and I have no idea why that song, as opposed to other ones, is the one which just seemed to
struck a chord, didn't it?
Yeah. I don't know why.
Sure.
We have.
That was my question. Go ahead. Dean.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there, but we do have a
bro.
question from YouTube, and Kevin, this is I hope I'm saying this right. Sharna wants to know, when you're playing Feels Like Heaven, do you experience the nostalgia of the '80s the way we were talking about that the folks listen to it may?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I would say so. Obviously, we've performed it I don't know how many hundreds, thousands of times. But I always look forward to the set when we play and we play live, because you know that one's coming, and that, you know, no matter what people think who are maybe coming and watching you for the first time, no matter they're watching you to go, oh, I don't really like that song. Oh, I don't like that song. No, that one's all right. You've always got Feels Like Heaven. And usually people who don't know the name Fiction Factory will go, it's that song. It's them that do it. Oh, right. And it is the job of a musician who's serious about it to connect with people. And that is the thing. And I think that's the most rewarding thing about performing Feels Like Heaven. And over the years, that it is that thing where, for whatever reason, so many thousands of people got what you were thinking and got what you were meaning and got what you were feeling. And that for me is priceless. It's something that, you know, you can't describe. You know, to know that so many people around the world and over the years go, yes, I get that. That for me is the thing, and it's the same thing performing live. Going back to the question, it is, you know, you may be doing a set and you're maybe not firing on all cylinders, but you've always got Feels Like Heaven to come to, because it's such a simple song, that you know when it starts, you know, people will go yes, and to get that and to have people cheering when the first few bars are playing, you go, yeah, this is it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so I do get it every time. It Feels Like Heaven is a bit like it's like a really old friend or a child that you've kind of brought into the world, and you've experienced all the emotions with it. You know, you have to understand as a songwriter, you aim to try and produce the best every time. And to do it with one song, but seemingly not to the same extent with other ones, you experience all the emotions with Feels Like Heaven, the pride of having written it, the joy that you're bringing to other people, the happiness that you go on Top of the Pops and you travel around Europe and you see the stream figures from Spotify, and it is just, you go, what? And it's always Feels Like Heaven. It's right at the top of the list. Yeah. And you see all of that, but then by the same token, as a songwriter, you're writing songs and you're going, oh man, that's not as good as Feels Like Heaven. Oh, there's a little bit in it that's quite good, but oh, why can't it be that? And you know, so you're battling it, and you get angry with the song because you go, why can't I write another one? You know, that just kind of, you know, connects with people again. And so you experience all the emotions, but, you know, now when I play it and when I perform it, it is just a fantastic feeling. I like performing all of our songs because I had a hand in a lot of them. But just Feels Like Heaven, you're always coming. That's the back home again, and it's just great to connect with people. And I can't think what it must be like for, you know, Elton John or Paul McCartney. You're just rolling out. It's just rolling out like a bankroll. Here's another one. Connecting every time you play a song. You know, I do it with one usually, but it just makes me appreciate people like that more, because they just do it. They just do it, and it's just such an effortless thing, or it seems to be such an effortless thing for them. That if I could bottle that would be fantastic.
Kevin, of course you have another occupation that you do. Tell the folks a little bit about what you do most of the time.
Most of the time I'm a normal person.
Whatever that is, yeah.
I do IT. would be a good description of it. My official title is a product engineer, and effectively that is, now that I'm the age that I am, it doesn't become me to run around fixing people's PCs, which is what I used to do. So I'm now more a sort of I call myself a chin stroker, because I sit and I ponder on today's IT problems at where I work, and I do a lot of design and solutions design and coding and programming and writing scripts and those sorts of things. So I suppose you could say that I support the IT function at the university, which is University of Dundee, which is where I've worked since the year 2000.
Wonderful.
So I'm not. I think I'm reasonably okay at it, but it's not music, which I always promise myself when I retire that I'll go back to that.
Yeah. DH, you have a little bit in that realm, don't you?
Yes, that's actually that's what I taught when I was in the classroom. Taught IT. Computer systems, computer applications. Right. We actually went into we actually got our students A+ certified, the CompTIA A+. So we have students that got that, and then I actually wrote the virtual reality curriculum for the state that we teach now. So
okay. That sounds great.
Yeah. So
then he really lost his mind and became an administrator at our school. So I don't know about that. So I'm sure he misses it.
I haven't found it yet.
He had a lovely passion for the IT stuff.
My struggle is still going back into that one classroom. It still like brings back that nostalgia of like, man, but I love what I do. So it's all good.
There you go.
But I want to go back for a second, DC, because I kind of thought you had lost it on Saturday morning when you told Kevin. When you told Kevin, we kind of do that same thing, and I thought you were going to mention us with this show. I was like, no, we're nowhere near on that level, dude.
Right. Kevin, let me ask this as well. Because we've talked about, of course, that you're doing some other occupational stuff now. Do you miss it full time? You kind of said that on the end. I kind of got that idea.
Yeah, I would say so, and it's possibly coloured by at the time, in the 80s, we were doing a lot of televisions and we were doing a lot of performances to playback. So when we were in our full glory, if you like, we didn't really have that sweat of, what's the venue going to be like, what's the sound system going to be like, who's going to be doing our sound, and all of those things. And so it was actually quite effortless in a lot of cases, because we were doing playback, effectively miming, although I would always sing when we were doing playback, so at least it looked kind of natural. So my thinking is slightly coloured by that, because it was quite effortless. We would just turn up and we would get a free lunch, literally, and then we would kind of stand around and we get the camera angles. You'd go off again and you get another free lunch, and you come back and you'd do your thing, and then you'd go away and you'd fly off glamorously to the next. And although we did play live, that is the overwhelming thing, where it was really so effortless. Now, as we, when we do our live appearances now, strangely, they are all live, and there isn't really any playback. And so now it's much more, there's much more organization involved, much more technology involved. And there is that in the back of your mind. Will the technology hold up? Is it going to be a power cut? Is live, so I hope I hit those notes. I hope one of the band guys plays the right notes, and he's not doesn't come in too early or too late. So there's no, there's all the stress now, which we didn't really have in at the time in the 80s. But I do miss it. and it is that connection. It is that the hope that there will be someone out there, a new person who comes and they go, oh, actually they're quite good. They've got quite a range of different songs. Oh, right. Oh, I'm going to go off and see what else they've done. And I always have that desire to connect with people, I think. I'm not a natural performer. When I started off, I played the bass guitar, and that was my element. I was completely comfortable, I think quite a good presence on stage. But that all kind of went when I had to get into the bass guitar, because I accidentally became a singer, because there was nobody else to sing the original version of Feels Like Heaven when we did it in the keyboard player Eddie's bedroom. There was no other singer, and I'd done some backing vocals in the band that we were in before. So I thought, well, I'll sing it, and then we'll get a real singer to sing it.
Wow.
So I'm not a natural performer, so I tend to enjoy far more the rehearsals that we do than when we go and play live. I don't like, it's a weird one. I don't like people looking at me, but I like people listening to me. So it's an odd one, but it is that connection. Even though I don't think I'm a great performer, I'm not that much to look at. I'm certainly not, Mel Gibson or Leonardo DiCaprio. But it's that connection. It's that connection that I get something from, and that's the bit that I enjoy of performing, where that is something that you do, or I certainly do miss, I think, and that's what might pull me back. I'm not sure about songwriting. That may be something that I might get back into. I don't know, but certainly doing something with music, I think, has to be the thing. I think I said the last time I spoke to you that it was a real kind of sliding doors moment. I think that was the phrase I used. It was a kind of real light bulb thing. If you remember Fame, the television series, it was always Bruno would come up with something as if by magic on the keyboard, and they would all go, oh yeah, let's do the show right here. It was very much like that with music for me, where it was that thing that just changed my life. Everything that I have now is from music. It is from that day when I was at school with my friends, and they were all, they wanted to join a band or they wanted to start a band. I couldn't play anything. And if I just turned away and gone, well, I can't play, I don't really like music, I've got lots of things that I could do. If I hadn't done that and stayed with them, then my life would be completely different, and you wouldn't be speaking to me.
What an
so
inspirational story.
Wow. that day, that lunch hour, when all my friends were talking about it, if I
making the band
if I'd turned round and gone out the door again, none of this. I wouldn't have met my wife indirectly. I wouldn't have my kids. I wouldn't be living where I am. It's
Isn't that amazing?
That is right there is, what music has done for me. All of the frustrations that I might have with songwriting, or, oh, this is a terrible gig, oh, the audience is really terrible, we're not playing very well. All of that is just, it's a way off in a little box. That day is the thing that guarantees that I will go back to music, I think, at some point. Not now.
Right.
What a powerful statement. I mean,
Absolutely.
Just for everyone out there, I mean, you talking about a statement that just encourages someone to follow, their dream or their passion.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hope so. I mean, it's interesting. My son has now started university down in Liverpool, and he's for the age that he's at, he's way better than I am. He's a drummer, but it's difficult to compare. But he's way on from me when I was his age, and it was always the case that I could never go, music, what are you doing? Because it's not just that I did music. I know that it's the key to a whole different life. Not even if you get to the level that we got with Feels Like Heaven, just it's such a satisfying and a oh, I don't want to get too new agey about it, but it's such a nourishing thing to go into that I would never ever discourage anyone, and I would always encourage someone who said, oh, I've always fancied having a bit of a bash at that. Just do it, because the worst that can happen is you find that you're not very good at it and you maybe don't enjoy it. But it's given me absolutely everything. You try it, you give it a go, and it's given me everything that I have now.
Wow. Let's talk 80s video stuff for a second, since we're kind of talking IT and all that good stuff. Man, what a powerful medium that was when it came out, the MTV craze and all that. And of course they're still hanging around and all that. But here's, I'm curious about it. I've never asked any other artists that we've had on this. Did when you do those things, did you lip sync the songs? How's all that production work?
I mean, we did a couple of videos, and you're right. It was a real big thing in those days about who, what was your storyline, and who's going to be directing it, and
absolutely,
what's the story that you're going to be painting, and it's a little unglamorous to begin with, because we didn't really have any say in what the video for Feels Like Heaven was. It was just, I think the record company had tendered some companies to do the video, and they'd selected this company, and we saw the storyboard, and I kind of, at the time, I went, oh, right, okay, it's not really what the song's about, but okay. It's a music video and we're doing one, so that's brilliant. We would perform to playback. And the interesting thing was, and I think it was particular to our video for Feels Like Heaven, because we did the filming. It was very, very early in the morning. We went to what was an abandoned mental hospital, where, in fact, Bonnie Tyler had videoed her single. It was one of those. It escapes me. It was one of the Jim Steinman ones, but that was in the same place.
Okay.
Bonnie Tyler video. And we turned up at something terrible for pop stars as we were at that time. It was something like 7 o'clock in the morning, and we had to get up at whatever, 5:30 in the morning. And by the time we got there, the storyboard demanded that they were going to do something at the end where they needed the light, and they knew it was going to take the whole day. So they did this shot, which was actually in the video was the end shot, where we're all sitting in church pews. Yes. I sit, and then it focuses in the next row, and it comes back to me, and then it goes to the second row, and so it's that shot. That was the first scene that we shot. So we didn't completely do it backwards, but we started with the end shot and then went from there. But yes, we perform to playback. They have speakers down at the side of you, and then they play it, and it's very kind of like a film set where they say, "Okay, quiet on set, roll in," and the thing comes in, and you mime along, or I would sing, but you wouldn't hear me. And you just, it's the usual thing with these kinds of things. Top of the Pops was the same. It's a great experience.
Oh, really? Okay.
But there's a lot of hanging about. It's exactly the same. Top of the Pops. There's a little bit of action and a lot of hanging about. Yeah. And we got to kind of wander around the abandoned asylum, and it went down into the basement. And
oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
There was no electricity, so it was dark. And we went, who's going to go down to the basement? Let's go down there. Yeah. And down in the basement, you got the padded cells and, all of that sort of stuff. And we saw saw all sorts of grisly stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So they set up, So they set up like in that hospital. They set up all the pews and gotcha, like a set like would be on TV or movie.
Well,
gotcha.
the interesting thing was, I think now they've repurposed it into residences. So there are flats and things, but at that time it was an abandoned institute.
Wow.
And it had everything on site. So it had a church, which is where we filmed the bits with the pews. It had
so an actual church there. Okay.
And I there's one bit where I think I scream, but no one knows. I'm actually sitting in a dentist's chair from the dentist's room.
Wow. Okay.
There's an autopsy room.
Yeah.
So if one of the patients had died.
Yeah.
So anything that you might imagine that the patients would need was on site, and because it was a walled place.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It was interesting because the institute itself was actually quite a forward-thinking institute when it was built in Victorian times, I think, and it was one of the first institutes where they didn't try to lock people away who had mental problems. They tried to help them and understand them, and try to take a more kind of holistic view. So it was quite an interesting place, I think, when it had people in it.
Yeah.
But when we got there, it had been closed since the 70s, I think. But really, really, really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Before DH, I'm gonna let DH ask the main question today.
Now I'm not, now DC, you always say I try to influence it. So.
Yeah. Before he does that, I've got to know, since we're on this the video, y'all didn't actually tilt and rock and all that stuff, did you? How'd that work?
No. That was that was we were in it was like a big, I'm not quite sure what it was. It was like a big kind of ballroom, I think. No electricity, and we didn't move, but the camera
Gotcha.
moved.
Gotcha.
And
more realistic.
all of the sort of leaves falling and going back up.
Yeah.
That was, we didn't have any kind of vacuum cleaner or anything. It was just the film was reversed. The one
magic of movies, yeah.
Well, the one person I felt really sorry for, and even now seeing the video, I go, oh God, you're only in it for about 3 seconds, but the pain that the guy went through. If you see the beginning of the video, there's a guy on a rope who is standing up, and then he kind of goes upside down. He was actually hanging upside down.
Oh my gosh!
Poor guy was hanging upside down.
Yeah,
and then he did this camera flip. So
if I remember correctly, I don't think his hat came off.
No. I think he held on to it at one point.
Oh, okay.
But no, he was actually hanging upside down.
Wow. Yeah.
And they filmed. I don't know why he was hanging upside down, but they said, "Okay, you got to hang upside down."
Wow.
But he was hanging upside down for a good 10 or 15 minutes, and the guy was in pain. And he said, "Can you stop filming, because I'm going to die here."
Yeah. Oh wow.
So no, he's the one that suffered.
Yeah.
Because he literally was tied by the waist, hanging upside down, or by his feet, by his ankles.
I remember him very well, and he was also in all black.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, stuff that sticks with you, years later. It's incredible.
I felt for him. Because he was hanging upside down for a long time.
Yeah, wow. DC, I think you may have done that back in the day after a few drinks of choice. I'm not sure.
We just didn't get it on film.
Yeah, right. We didn't have the technology to film it back then.
No. Well, go ahead, DH.
All right, so
question of the day.
Now, Kevin, this is the most important question of the interview right here. And I kind of need a little help on this one, because I've kind of taken a few hits the last couple of weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
So what we're doing every Friday morning we debrief the shows at Waffle House. And
that's our post conference.
That's our post conference, So we have this particular question, and whoever wins, the other person buys breakfast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're going to compare, we're going to have you compare and pick out of 2 artists who you would rank as the winner if they were in a competition. And of course,
all spectrums of their career, by the way.
DC always tries to influence everything. I don't try to influence everything because you just can't beat it when, you're talking about this. I mean,
right.
So I don't want to influence anything, but you get to choose between Prince or Michael Jackson. Again, that's Prince or Michael Jackson, not to influence you, but Prince or Michael Jackson. I'm not influencing anything. So
right.
No, right. I can see that. You're not trying to influence. The one word answer would be Prince. I would say I would rank him higher than Michael Jackson, mainly because he did a more diverse range of material, and purely for that. Although Michael Jackson, I do have one memory of Michael Jackson, and it was when Thriller came out, video for Thriller, a big long video. And I remember being in CBS office in Soho Square in London when the video, I don't know how they did it. It was in the days, obviously, before streaming. So I'm not quite sure, but it was a big fuss about the Michael Jackson video, the Thriller video. And we got to watch it the afternoon before it appeared, I think maybe on YouTube. So I thank Michael Jackson for that, because we got to see it before a lot of people in the UK.
Something. What a cool story.
I would have to say Prince was the guy. Yeah. After Fiction Factory, I did a collaboration with a friend of mine in a group called the Dear Hearts. And we always, when we were stuck for an idea or stuck for something in the studio, we always had this phrase, which was, what would Prince do? So I'm afraid it's Prince.
Awesome.
DC,
awesome.
I'm going to give you half a point on that one. Okay?
right. But I'll give you the check.
Yes, exactly. Check, please.
All right. Hey, Kevin, before we kind of wrap it up here, all the other guys doing okay in the band?
Yeah, they're great.
Great.
The nice thing about it is that we're all still friends, and we do all perform together.
Yes.
Mike, the drummer, who is a great guy, great drummer, great musician, great person. He lives in America, near.
Yeah, you mentioned that the first time around.
He's
still here. He's still in
America. Okay. He's Blue Ridge Mountains, I think, somewhere.
Ain't far from us then.
No. Well,
awesome.
He will come over because there's something about Mike's playing. It's you just know if Mike's not playing, and we've got somebody else.
It's different.
There's just something. Mike is integral to Fiction Factory. It's just more than other guys in the band, and I hope they wouldn't object if I said that. But there's just something about Mike's playing that it's just a thing. But we're all good friends. We see each other reasonably regularly. I was speaking. Actually, I met Eddie, the keyboard player, this week, and we're going to be meeting up at the beginning of October, just for a get together. We're going to get together for Christmas, just as a social thing. So we're kind of unique in that we are still friends. We've had bumpy periods, but
sure.
We just we're now over that hump, and we just like each other as people. We're all different. We bring a little bit of something different to the table to make the band what it is.
It makes it work, yeah.
And we don't go and try and sell ourselves, which is great. We don't have a music career to try and keep going. We don't have a momentum to build. We don't have any of these things, and it's just great to have kind of like this, or if somebody asks if we can come and play at something or get me to come along and perform, it's all great, and we just embrace it. I think when it comes along, and that's why coming full circle. That's why I love to come on to things like this and just talk about me.
yeah, awesome, Kevin. We appreciate you taking time with us.
Definitely,
you're part of our family for sure here.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think about you quite often, and hey, you're part of how we got this thing rolling, and we appreciate your kindness for doing it for us. And
sure,
you're part of the weekly show, man. You're part of the show to this thing.
Definitely, and and we just want to. I just want to say thank you. Even back, back to the first interview. We're still. I mean, we're just two guys having fun doing this, enjoying it.
Two teachers that don't have a clue what we're doing with this,
right?
Stuff,
and for someone with your magnitude of success to take time out of their day to talk to us. I mean, now I know it's your highlight of your career now. The D&D show.
Yeah, don't knock us too bad, DH.
Yeah, that's
don't make me feel any worse than it is already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that'll go top of my TV. Yeah,
we might be the rung right under the top of the pops or something. we're along that ladder somewhere.
We've got Kevin recorded saying that now, so we're going to start using that as our intro.
We'll start using that one. Yeah. But man, we appreciate it. If you can hang in there, we'll close this thing out. Let you go on your day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching D&D Dynamite 80s from Nashville, Tennessee. I am DH, and we're going to go ahead and end off. I want to thank Kevin Patterson for joining us this morning. It's been a great interview. Remember, you can find us on Anchor, Spotify, Breaker Radio, Radio Republic, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Google Podcast, and of course, if that's not enough, you can see our ugly faces on our website. All of it, D&D Dynamite 80s, ladies and gentlemen. As I always end off, remember, it doesn't cost anything extra to be kind, so always be kind to each other. DC?
Absolutely. Hey, coming up Wednesday night, by the way.
Lieutenant
Kurt Watson. He's a retired Navy fighter
By the way,
pilot.
DC, I just want it notated. I'm back in studio on Saturday morning. Look at that. See?
Yeah. You've been on the road a little bit on the Wednesday night, so that's okay. You make it work, brother.
It all works. It all works.
Yeah. So Kurt Watson, the former Blue Angel pilot, and a lot of people know the Blue Angels are the demonstration fighter pilot team for the Navy.
Yes.
And he was an actual Tennessee Vol. Big, and played in the NFL as well. So he's done all kinds of different things in his life. But we're going to have him on to talk about the special flight that he gave a guy. I think everybody kind of knows the actor, Tom Cruise. He gave him the first kind of feeling of what Top Gun might be like. And he actually convinced, or was a part of helping convince Tom Cruise to take the Top Gun part. So we're going to talk about all that experience he had with him. That'll be on Wednesday night. That's going to be a cool show.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
All right. So, once again, Kevin, thank you very much. Hold tight there. Let's get our sponsors in real quick. D&D Dynamite 80s would like to thank their sponsors, Hudson's Flags and More, PJG Marketing, and the Nesting Project. You can find all these great folks online. Once again, Mr. Kevin Patterson, dear friend of the shows, and dear friend, and I call him that. Just appreciate all the support he's given us, and he to me is a friend of ours, most definitely. And we appreciate his time. Hey, the best to your family, to your son, and school down there, and all that. Great success. And all the best to you. We'll continue to stay in touch.
Yep, absolutely. Anytime you want me on, I'll happily blab on.
Absolutely. We'll definitely have Kevin back to check in with him here in the near future for sure. Once again, everybody, D&D Dynamite 80s. I'm DC. That's DH. We're going live here from Nashville, and we appreciate your support. And man, is it growing? And we appreciate you.
Oh yeah.
And all that great stuff. And as DC always kind of closes out the show with you, keep playing them 80s.
We'll see you on Wednesday.